Let the fancy people know what we're about to do today might look tacky, but it's just yogurt and a couple of tricks. I'm bringing you 3 light, quick, delicious desserts for when you want something sweet and don't feel like making a mess. And the last one is crazy, starting with this one made with condensed milk, which everyone loves.
We start by putting some of the milk in a saucepan or any other container. From the total, which is 1.4 liters or 7 cups, we add just half a cup or 1 cup here while it's still cold. And here we optionally add a splash of vanilla essence, extract, or flavoring. It's optional, but I recommend it because it tastes really good. We also add cornstarch, starch, or corn flour. Specifically, 65 grams or 3 tablespoons. Here we go! Look how good this is looking! What's left? Mix it really well. So keep stirring until you don't see any lumps. Come on, stir quickly. Once you have the cornstarch dissolved in that part of the cold milk, it's time to give it a special touch. And how are we going to do that? Very easy, with condensed milk. It will give it a sweet and creamy touch. I'm going to use 3/4 of a cup, which is about 150 milliliters. But here you can do it to your personal taste. Add more if you prefer it sweeter, or less if not. If you want it not very sweet. Once it's mixed, we take the rest of the milk, and optionally, we add a bit of flavor. In my case, with the zest of an orange, that is, with a grated peel. We take a grater and grate a washed orange right over it. Remember to only grate the surface, just the orange part, not the white part underneath, because that's a bit bitter. Once you have it, we heat this milk to speed up the process. You can do it in a saucepan or in the microwave. The trick here is very simple. To speed up the process, heat the milk very well first, without letting it boil, but make sure it's nice and warm. That way, everything happens a little faster. And once it's warm, we pour it into the container where we have the dissolved cornstarch. What will we do? Mix it well. And how will we do it? Keep stirring as we add a little at a time. Make it steady so that everything dissolves and comes together very quickly. Then put it on the stove. If you already had it directly in a pot, fantastic. If not, transfer it to a pot and put it on medium or slightly higher heat. What you'll do is keep stirring and stirring until you see that a thick cream has formed here. You can see that after a little while, it starts to look like this. Do you notice? It's not completely liquid anymore. It's starting to get a bit of texture. Well, you have to keep stirring, remembering to go along the bottom and the sides until it's creamy. How beautiful! Look, like this. You can tell it's even starting to have trouble falling off the spoon, the rubber spatula, or the spatula. At that moment, you add 2 plain yogurts. Look, with a little cut in the back. They slide out easily, but if not, just scoop them with a spoon. It's 250 grams of plain unsweetened yogurt. The classic kind everyone knows. Really healthy. Add it in, stir it well so it mixes perfectly. And once you have it without any lumps, take it off the heat and pour it directly into the mold. In my case, it's a 20 centimeter square mold. If you have a round one, it's about 22 or 23 centimeters. Once you've filled your mold, for me, it's silicone, so I don't need to add anything. But if you use a different type of mold, you can line it with parchment paper or plastic wrap so it comes out easily. And if you want to do this for decoration, even better. I'm using a little chocolate sauce. But you can use jam, caramel, syrup, cream, honey, whatever you want. Just a few drops and use a toothpick. You keep swirling it around so it gets a bit of color. It's purely decorative. What is important is that once it starts to cool, you put it in the fridge or refrigerator for at least 4 hours. Although it's the kind of dessert that tastes even better if you leave it overnight. Come on, let's take it out of here because this beauty is already begging us to eat it. Look, if you use a mold with a silicone side, you can do this. You just move it a little, and it helps it come out perfectly. Hey, if you don't have one of these molds, I'm telling you, just line it with parchment paper or plastic wrap and you'll get the same result. As you can see, I'm removing the side strip to unmold it, and I hope it turns out looking this good. Look, a perfect edge, without having to do anything weird. A creamy, creamy cake that's sure to become one of your favorite desserts. Look how good it looks. Fantastic, even healthy, and also very fresh. Look, now we're gonna do the most important thing, which is to see the inside. The inside is the best part, just like with people. Look, 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 it looks amazing. A super easy dessert, very creamy, very easy to make. That doesn't need an oven, and you can make it with just 4 ingredients. Look, I'm sure you're feeling a little jealous of the owner of this.
Look at my texture. I'm sure you already want to dig in with a spoon.
Wait.
Because maybe you'll like this lemon version better, which you can prepare super easily and gives a great result.
Egg whites, specifically 4. Let's go for it. We add the egg whites in, and what we'll do is add a pinch of salt so they become firmer and, in the end, enhance the flavors a bit, along with 30 grams or 2 tablespoons of sugar. There it is, and now what we'll do is beat it really well. You can do it with a fork or a manual whisk, but if you have an electric one like I do, it's much better because you'll finish in no time. You just have to keep whipping and whipping until they're this firm. See? In fact, you can do the classic test of turning the bowl upside down. If it doesn't fall out, it's ready, of course. Now, we take another bowl and put in the 4 egg yolks we had left over from the egg whites at the beginning. We add the same amount of sugar, which is 30 grams or 2 tablespoons, and we beat it really well. We can use the same beaters that still have some egg white on them. It's totally fine. We're gonna keep mixing it until it becomes a foamy cream, like you see here, whitish and almost tripled in volume. To this, we add 3 plain yogurts, so I'm going to add them one by one. That's about 375 grams, and I use regular plain yogurt, unsweetened, unflavored, and without any added sweeteners. Although, if you add a little lemon yogurt, it would also taste pretty good. We mix it really well and add the zest of a little lemon. We're going to grate like this calmly, remembering that we should only grate the yellow part, without going deep enough for the white part to come off. We mix it in, and the next ingredient, a teaspoon or 6 grams of baking soda. If you can't find it, you can use baking powder instead. We also mix this in and add this here, cornstarch or cornstarch. I like to do it through a strainer or sieve so it mixes in easily. It's about 1/3 cup, and then the juice of half a lemon. I use the strainer again, just in case there are any seeds. That way, I make sure there are no surprises inside. I mix these 2 ingredients gently at first, and then, once the cornstarch powder is moistened, I turn on the machine and mix at full speed. Now that we have everything, what's left for us to do? Combine it with the whipped egg white from the beginning. Here we go. In it goes. This is where we need to have a little patience. You have to do it gently with folding motions from top to bottom, because if we use the mixer or the beaters here again and went at it hard, we would ruin the work we did at the beginning to incorporate air into the egg whites. So remember, a little patience and keep folding gently. Well, I'm gonna use a 23 centimeter springform pan with a silicone ring. Hey, you don't have one like this? No problem, just use a mold that's about the same size and line it with parchment paper. This ensures it comes out of the mold perfectly. We're just gonna put it in place and fill it directly with the cream. Here it goes. Look how it falls, how good this is looking. It's wonderful. Once you have the mold filled, we're going to the oven. It needs to be preheated to 180 OC, which is about 355 OFE. And we're gonna leave it inside until it's puffed up and a little toasted. When you poke it with a toothpick, it should come out clean. In my case, it took 50 minutes. But I'm telling you, that depends a little on the mold and also a bit on how cold the mixture was. Look how good it looks fresh out of the oven. What I do is check here in front of the camera that the toothpick comes out clean. Perfect. And now I cover it with a bit of kitchen paper or paper towel so the temperature drops evenly. Well, I've got it ready. What's left? Enjoying it. But first, I'm going to decorate it with a little powdered sugar. If you sift it through a strainer or sieve, the finish looks nicer and more professional. It's like a soft layer of snow. We're going to enjoy this to the fullest. So I'm going to take this wonder out of the mold. And look at how amazing this soufflé-style cake looks. A little soft, a little moist as well. Delicious, delicious. So now I'm going to show you the most important thing. In desserts, it's the same as with people, the inside. I cut a portion. I think right here will be just fine. We slide the serving spatula underneath. And you'll see how amazing it is. Look, look, look. Let's see if you can notice here. Perfect. It's hard to believe that Konyogen can do this. But wait for this recipe. Pay close attention, because it's even easier to make. Start by putting 250 milliliters, or 1¼ cups, of super hot water into your blender jar. That's very important. And here, dissolve gelatin. In my case, pineapple flavor. For 500 milliliters of water. In my case, the 2 packets that come in the manufacturer's box. The amount of gelatin. It's a bit hard to explain, but there's a trick so you never get it wrong. Don't pay too much attention to the weight of the packet. Instead, look at what it says back here, how to prepare it. Why? Because we need gelatin for 500 milliliters, or 2½ cups of water. So, if it says that the mix is for a whole liter, for example, you use half a packet. Sometimes the packets weigh differently because some have more sugar. Others may use a sweetener instead of sugar, which is much lighter. And that can be a bit misleading. So the solution is really simple. The package should say it's for ½ liter of water. Gelatin in water for ½ liter. What we'll do is use the blender and give it a good spin for about a minute, so that everything mixes really well. And it will also get a bit of texture. That's what we're looking for to make the dessert a bit smoother. You'll notice it gains a bit of volume. See? Like here. Once that minute has passed, we're going to add the next ingredient, and this will be the last one. 400 milliliters, or 2 cups of heavy cream, also called whipping cream, double cream, chantilly, heavy cream, cream, double, and I don't know how many more names. It's a white liquid that has at least 28% fat content. All right, now that I've given you the whole story about the cream, mix for another minute with the mixer too. Let's go for it. One more minute, and the same thing as before will happen. You'll see that it gets a bit of texture. And now it's ready. We can take it directly to the mold or tray where you want to present this dessert. In this one, I have here, for example, I'm going to use an oval one because I think it looks nice. Once you've poured it out, that's all you have left to do. Oops, be a little careful. And add whatever decoration you want. I like to sprinkle a bit of shredded coconut on top because it gives it some texture. And also some raisins because, hey, they add that sweet touch. They're healthy, and I love them. And finally, in the center area, some chopped walnuts that I had handy here. I cut them into small pieces. And look how nice it looks. You have your dessert ready in no time. Once it's assembled, we're gonna put it in the fridge so the gelatin can do its job. So we open it, and we're going to place it in carefully. Why? Because this is liquid, and I don't want it to spill and make a mess everywhere. So just be patient while you put it in. There it is. Perfect. Not a single drop fell. We close it and wait. Like I was saying, 4 hours or overnight. On the internet, time flies. And now it's ready. So all that's left is to serve, enjoy, and tell you how this wonder turned out. It can be the kind of dessert you serve in bowls or little cups and enjoy just like that. By the spoonful, look how good it looks. Creamy and nice and chilled, nice and chilled, nice and chilled. But it can also be a dessert that you serve in portions. So you could take a nice sharp knife cut a piece, and serve it directly to share without any trouble. So look, besides being versatile, it's super tasty and really easy to make. You can't ask for more. I hope you really like this dessert, but I'm sure you'll also like the lemon one and the one we made at the beginning. Which one is your favorite? If yogurt can brighten your day this easily, I hope you're already thinking of making some. Well, so I hope you'll tell me what you're planning. And the thing is, enjoying yourself and taking care of yourself can go hand in hand.